This is Ecclesiasticus chapter 4, verse 28. Strive for the truth unto death, and the Lord shall fight for thee. First off, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai Bahar Kodash. I want to give double honors to the apostles and elders of GMS who have taught us this word and teach us this word today. And I want to give a salutation unto the elect of the nation of Israel. This is the Brother Yatta Zakba with the GMS Nebraska camp. This is GMS Endeavor. Now, in these times that we are coming into, we know that, according to prophecy in the scriptures, that when this MOTB is instated and mandatory, when the penalty for not worshiping the image of the beast, we're coming into a time where the penalty for not worshiping the image of the beast will be death, according to Revelation chapter 13. We know that those of us who hold this truth dear and strive for this truth, strive to serve Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, we will be faced with death, imprisonments, tortures, for not worshiping, Esau's image, for not receiving that mark. And what I want to do in this lesson is go into an example in the scriptures of, a similar situation to what a lot of us who have this truth will be in, and before we go there, I want to go to Romans chapter 15, verse 4, which says, "For whatsoever things were written aforetime were written for our learning, that we through patience and comfort of the scriptures might have hope." So these scriptures that we have are, for us to grow in faith. They are for us to, be instructed in how to serve Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. And the stories that we read in these scriptures aren't just stories. These are actual accounts of things that happened and the way that our forefathers, carried themselves, and it's, we should read, as the scriptures say, blessed is the man that readeth, because these very words are what will make us stable in the last days. As the scriptures say, wisdom and knowledge will be the stability of thy times. And it's the wisdom and knowledge of, these scriptures, really the wisdom and knowledge of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, but it comes by way of this book. And so through these scriptures, through the things that were written aforetime, it was written so that we would be stable, so that we would have faith. And I want to grab one more scripture before we get into it, which is Ecclesiasticus chapter 2, verse 10. It says, "Look at the generations of old and see, did ever any trust in the Lord and was confounded? Or did any abide in his fear and was forsaken? Or whom did he ever despise that called upon him?" So when you read into the scriptures, we read about, men that were full of faith, and they were rewarded for it. They were protected. They were dealt with by the Most High, or the Most High dealt with them because of their faith. They were saved out of different situations, and these examples are what is supposed to play through our mind as we go into these last days, as we go into these these prophecies that we read about that will really test us, and really, once we get into these evil times, these things that were written aforetime, and these examples of our forefathers who trusted, this is what will have to play through our mind to keep us going, through the spirit and power of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. So let's go ahead and get into it. We're going to go to Daniel chapter 3 and read about Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. So let's start at verse 2. It says, then Nebuchadnezzar, Daniel chapter 3, verse 2. Then Nebuchadnezzar, the king, sent to gather together the princes, the governors, and the captains, the judges, the treasurers, the counselors, the sheriffs, and all the rulers of the provinces to come to the dedication of the image which Nebuchadnezzar the king had set up. Now, this image here isn't a, this image is speaking of an idol, a statue, you could say. There's a false god that Nebuchadnezzar had set up, and he called, all the people in his kingdom together to bow to this image that he has set up. So let's read on. It says, then the princes, the governors and captains, the judges, the treasurers, the counselors, the sheriffs, and all the rulers of the provinces were gathered together unto the dedication of the image that Nebuchadnezzar the king has set up. And they stood before the image that Nebuchadnezzar has set up. Then an herald cried aloud, to you it is commanded, O people, nations, and languages, that at what time ye hear the sound of the cornet, flute, harp, sackbut, psaltery, dulcimer, and all kinds of music, ye shall fall down and worship the golden image that Nebuchadnezzar the king had set up. So, when we extrapolate and really put ourselves in this, in what we're reading, this was a ceremony of sorts that Nebuchadnezzar had set up. He gathered all the people within his kingdom, and had them basically set up to worship this image that he has set up. You kind of think of the thing that's playing through my mind right now is kind of when you have a president that's giving a speech, and you see the crowd, and it's a huge crowd of people. If the president is speaking in like Washington D.C. or something like that, or anywhere where the president is having like a rally, and there's that huge crowd of people. Well, Nebuchadnezzar had kind of set up like that, where you have the image, and you have the hundreds or thousands of people that are all gathered together, and he had music playing. It was a serious thing that he had set up, to where once that music played, you were supposed to bow. So it says, what does it say? It says, and whoso falleth not down and worshipeth shall the same hour be cast into the midst of a burning fiery furnace. So if you weren't going to bow to this image, there was a punishment, death, and a very painful, a very painful death at that, burning in a fiery furnace. Now the thing is, we ain't supposed to be bowing to no gods other than the one true powers, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. Those are who Yahweh and Yahweh Shai is who we worship. And so let's read on. It says, therefore at that time, when all the people heard the sound of the cornet, flute, harp, sackbut, psaltery, and all kinds of music, all the people, the nations, and the languages fell down and worshipped the golden image that Nebuchadnezzar the king had set up. Wherefore at that time certain Chaldeans came near and accused the Jews. So you had the Babylonians that were looking at Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Why? Because they weren't bowing, and they probably stuck out like a sore thumb. Because again, you have to think, this is a lot of people who are gathered together for this, for this worshiping that Nebuchadnezzar has set up, and then you got these three men that's just standing in the midst of everybody bowing to this idol. So they probably stood out. But you have these Babylonians that basically went to tell on them. It says, they spake and said to King Nebuchadnezzar, O king, live forever. Thou, O king, hast made a decree that every man that shall hear the sound of the cornet, flute, harp, sackbut, psaltery, and dulcimer, and all kinds of music shall fall down and worship the golden image. And whoso falleth not down and worship it, that he should be cast into the midst of a burning fiery furnace. There are certain Jews whom thou hast set over the affairs of the province of Babylon, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. These men, O king, have not regarded thee. They serve not thy gods, nor worship the golden image which thou hast set up. So, these heathen were basically going and snitching unto the king for us not worshiping, and this is showing why, the Lord doesn't just have rage against Esau. The Lord is going to, that's why all the heathen will be under captivity under us, because this is just a small example. Hey, the heathen don't like us either, and you got to think, these heathen had us into captivity as well. This very same captivity that our people were under Nebuchadnezzar, the Babylonians. This came off the heels of the siege of Jerusalem, where our city was destroyed, and our temple was destroyed, and thousands of Israelites were killed and starved, and treated harshly. And this is just one instance in history of these heathen coming against the Israelites. So I just want to put that out there. Hey, these heathen are going to get their punishment as well. But this story reminds me of what we will have to go through in these times, because when this image is set up, Esau is going to make it to where if you don't conform to his ways, you will stick out in society. You will be pointed at and deemed as an evil person. You will be deemed as a menace to society. And for those of us who are serving Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai, we're gonna have to separate from the way that's going to be the norm. Because the way that's going to be the norm, we're going to have to conform to Esau's way. That goes into this the surveillance state that Esau wants to set up really all over the world. This goes into the AI that Esau is setting up, that will be watching through this surveillance, that's deciding who is good and who is bad in society. That's watching to see who's doing what, who's following what things on the internet, who's going to what places, who are saying what. And if you are behaving in a way that is against the way that Esau wants you to behave, then you're for in Esau's eyes, you going off. But that's that worshiping the image of the beast. And it's a similar thing to here, to where you physically had to bow to this idol, but in that day, when there is a punishment and there is a stigma put on you for not worshiping the image, or not carrying yourself, or doing what Esau wants you to do, and ultimately getting that chip, that is a form of bowing to Esau. The same thing that Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego were faced with, and here in Babylon, they was in a situation where it was either you bow or you don't bow, and if you don't bow, there's a punishment. So let's read on. It says, then Nebuchadnezzar in his rage and fury commanded to bring Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Then they brought these men before the king. Nebuchadnezzar spake and said unto them, is it true, O Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego? Do not ye serve my gods, nor worship the golden image which I have set up? Now if ye be ready, that at what time ye hear the sound of the cornet, flute, harp, sackbut, psaltery, and dulcimer, and all kinds of music, ye fall down and worship the image which I have made, well. But if ye worship not, ye shall be cast the same hour into the midst of a burning fiery furnace. And who is that power that shall deliver you out of my hands? Now, what Nebuchadnezzar didn't understand at this time is that the Most High was dealing with these three men. We for those of us who are walking in righteousness, who are of the hopeful elect, those who are of the elect, the Lord is working with them and will get them out of these fatal situations, these dire situations. This is why the scriptures speak about the Most High's men laughing when famine comes, and not being worried when these calamity comes. Why? Because they will be taken care of, and whichever way the Lord makes it happen. The scriptures speak about when the enemy shall come in like a flood, a standard shall be lifted up. Where the Most High, Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai will intervene on some level. The angels will protect us, or we will get spiritual power ourselves to do certain things. The Lord is going to make way, and we have to have faith in that. We have to trust that. And these three men, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, whose Hebrew names would have been Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah, You know, they had faith in the Most High. You know, whether they, you know, was going to get cast into that fiery furnace or not, they was going to continue to serve the Most High regardless. So let's read on. It says, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego answered and said to the king, O Nebuchadnezzar, we are not careful to answer thee in this matter. If it be so, our power whom we serve is able to deliver us from the burning fiery furnace, and he will deliver us out of thine hand, O king. But if not, be it known unto thee, O king, that we will not serve thy gods, nor worship the golden image which thou hast set up. So you see, it was either way. They wasn't going to bow, whether it meant death or if the Most High saved them out of it. You know, and the scriptures say that about, you know, the times that we're coming into where, you know, some of us will be cast into prison 10 days to be tried. And those 10 days just represent a period of time. It's not a literal 10 days, but that period of time is to try us, where at the end we will make it out of it, but it is to test us, you know. But then you have some that will be beheaded. You know, we will be taken into courts and have to answer to officials. But the scriptures say, how does that scripture go? It's like it says, let me see. Yep, Matthew chapter 10, verse 19. Or let's start at verse 18. It says, and ye shall be brought before governors and kings for my sake, for a testimony against them and the Gentiles. But when they deliver you up, take no thought how or what ye shall speak, for it shall be given you in that same hour what ye shall speak. You know, when we have to answer for not bowing to this image, for not, you know, carrying ourselves in the way Esau wants us to, for being separated from this society, hey, the Lord is going to work with us. We going to know what to say. We're going to be protected under the spirit and hedge of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai in those times. You know, and I seen the scripture trying to find that one just now, so we'll go to it, you know, because I saw it through the spirit. So we'll go down to Matthew chapter 6 and verse 25. It says, therefore I say unto you, take no thought for your life, what ye shall eat or what ye shall drink, nor yet for your body what ye shall put on. Is not the life more than meat, and the body than raiment? Behold the fowls of the air, for they sow not, neither do they reap, nor gather into barns, yet your heavenly Father feedeth them. Are ye not much better than they? You know, so the Lord is going to take care of his men in that time, you know, and we got to lean on that. We got to lean on Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, and keep in mind that even if we are slated to be put to death, we still want to keep the faith of, you know, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai to the end. We still want to keep the faith that we will, you know, we ain't folding, even if we got to be put to death, because we know that there's a reward. And even without reward, we have given our lives unto the Lord. So we do it. It's supposed to, you know, we supposed to you know, be ready to die off the principle of that alone, because we serve Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. We're not going to let Esau take that you know, hey, as the scriptures say, let's grab that. It's Matthew chapter 10, verse 28. It says, and fear not them which kill the body, but are not able to kill the soul, but rather fear him which is able to destroy both soul and body in hell. Hey, Esau can do whatever he wants to this body, but we fear the Most High, and we're not going to let, you know, whatever fear we may feel over what Esau is going to do to us trump the fear that we have to the Most High, trump the love that we have to the Most High. The Most High can do way more to us. The Lord decides, you know, what happens to us in the reincarnation. The Lord decides, you know, much more than just what pain Esau can bring upon us, what suffering Esau can bring upon us. The Most High is the Father of spirits at the end of the day, you know. So let's go back to Daniel and read on. It says, let's go to Daniel chapter 3 and verse 19. It says, then was Nebuchadnezzar full of fury, and the form of his visage was changed against Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Therefore he spake and commanded that they should heat the furnace 7 times more than it wont to be heated. So hey, he turned that fire up. He like, man, in his anger, he like, man, I'm about to put these dudes to death. And let's read on. It says, and he commanded the most mighty men that were in his army to bind Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, and to cast them into the burning fiery furnace. Then these men were bound in their coats, their hosen, and their hats, and their other garments, and were cast into the midst of the burning fiery furnace. Therefore, because the king's commandment was urgent, and the furnace exceeding hot, the flame of the fire slew those men that took up Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. So that's showing how mighty and roaring this flame of this furnace was, that the men that were throwing Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego into the fire, they got burnt up. That's how much the fire was blasting. And so let's read on. It says, and these 3 men, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, fell down bound into the midst of the burning fiery furnace. Then Nebuchadnezzar the king was astonished, and rose up in haste, and spake, and said unto his counselors, did not we cast 3 men bound into the midst of the fire? They answered and said unto the king, true, O king. He answered and said, lo, I see 4 men loose, walking in the midst of the fire, and they have no hurt. And the form of the fourth is like the Son of God. So the Most High protected Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, to where Nebuchadnezzar was looking in the furnace, and it looked like there was a 4th person. And that's shown. And what does it say? It says, then Nebuchadnezzar came near to the mouth of the burning fiery furnace, and spake and said, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, ye servants of the Most High power, come forth and come hither. Then Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego came forth out of the midst of the fire. So we got to think, just before, when Nebuchadnezzar was about to throw them into the fire, he was like, what power going to save you from what I'm about to do to you? But once he seen that, these 3 men were in the fire, good, walking around, and there was a fourth person in there with them, with the form of the Son of the Most High, protecting them, keeping them safe from the flames, like keeping like a force field around them, keeping them impervious to being burnt. Nebuchadnezzar knew, man, like the Most High is working with them. All these gods that I serve, they don't got nothing on whichever power they serving. This is the one true Most High power. Their faith, and the Most High showing forth that their faith was sound and protecting them, made Nebuchadnezzar realize that they were serving the true power. So let's read on. It says, then Nebuchadnezzar came near Salakia. It says, verse 27, and the princes, governors, and captains, and the king's counselors being gathered together, saw these men, upon whose bodies the fire had no power, nor was an hair of their heads singed, neither were their coats changed, nor the smell of fire had passed on them. Then Nebuchadnezzar spake and said, blessed be the power of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, who had sent his angel, and delivered his servants that trusted in him, and have changed the king's word, and yielded their bodies, that they might not serve nor worship any god except their own power. So Nebuchadnezzar had, he blessed them by the end of this. He recognized that these men, they faith was where it was supposed to be. They recognized that the Lord has sent the angel to protect these men, and we have to have faith that what happened here in this situation, we will be delivered in these in similar fashion. And again, like I meant, like Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego said, even if the Lord didn't protect them, didn't save them from their punishment, hey, we gonna take it anyway, because we serve the Most High, and we not gonna yield to no other, to no man or no other god. That's just like in 2 Maccabees with the 7 sons and their mother. All of them got tortured, put to death in a gruesome fashion, and before each of them died, they all professed their faith and their servitude to the Most High. And this is the type of energy that we gonna have to have. Our faith is strong, but You know, we can say that we believe. We can, you know, we can say that we ready in these times, but our faith is gonna be have to it's gonna have to be backed up by works. And these different events, you know, like here what happened with Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, this was a trying of their faith. The Lord was testing them. And we're gonna be tested. We're gonna be put in different situations. And by those situations, that's gonna be the way that we back up our faith by works. And that's where our faith really shines through. And that's where the Most High will reward us for our faith. That's when the Most High will reward us for only serving Him. You know, and the elect is gonna have that type of faith. You know, and we strive to be so. You know, so with that being said, you know, once again, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem Yahawashi, Baharach Kodash. Giving double honors to the apostles and elders of GMS, and a salutation unto the elect. Hey, Shalom.